All right, welcome back to the channel. Today, I just want to show everyone a fairly easy, or I should say hopefully fairly easy, thing to do just as far as I'm going to change out this lower seal on this garage door. It's just old, it's flattened, it's like cracking. It just doesn't seal the garage good, especially in the winter because we put a lot of plants in here in the winter. Sorry, this angle is weird. This is all I had as far as you could see this good. But so yeah, I'm gonna change this out. Again, more so just for our winters because we put a lot of plants in here. I'm trying to seal this up better and just have a better seal. So yeah, pretty simple as far as the idea. It's in a track. This little plastic piece slides right out. That's why I have it angled weird, because I needed to get through here and be able to get it out. So for whatever reason, the last person put a bolt through this, I think because this one was a harder style and they wanted to hold it in there. Luckily, this bolt's finger loose. Now, the only problem with that is just from experience of when I did another one, it gets this groove all messed up. And these grooves, well, let me pull this one out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the good thing about these old plastic ones like this is once you get this thing started, it should just theoretically slide right out. Now, again, because this is old, there we go. Door's been a little banged up. Again, that's why I have the door down so it'll make it through between the track. Who knows what else you'll find in here. So, like that. All right, old one's out. Now, again, what I'll do is I'll inspect this track. Because again, at these ends, like I have some bent spots. And of course, where they put that bolt through it, of course, messed the track all up and makes it all. So like I have a little bend here. And all I want to do is try and get this all as straight and clean as possible. Because when you try and slide the next one through, any little imperfection in this little track, it'll catch it and start gliding the piece out instead of staying inside this track. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when I get the other one in a minute. All I want to do right now, just clean this track. There's this one spot right here that probably end up giving me a problem, but we'll see. Again, if all was well and this track was perfectly clean, you could probably do this in like 10 minutes. However, because my track's not perfect, now once I get to this other end, it's not going to be as big of a deal because once I get to the end, I'll get it out, man. It's that beginning. And because you're going to be feeding this all the way through this track, I'm going to start out here because this is my main part of my garage, which you can see. So laying out here, I have the piece that I'm going to be putting in. Now, again, so this is just a flat piece. I had it laying out because they come in all rolled up. So I wanted to get it to just flatten out a little. It makes it a little bit easier to put in there. But I don't know how well I'm going to put this in the camera. But these little tops like a T, this part's going to slide into that track. But you can see this is so flexible. There's an imperfection in that track. It'll pull that and start guiding it out. And so I want to keep as many imperfections. And you can see too how this is flat. This is going to be on the inside. This is going to roll through. And then we're going to have that. And that's basically your stop bump at the bottom. So now, with that being said, the other thing I like to do, which I didn't bring, so let me grab real quick, is I like to lube this track to make this thing slide in there easy. Because this newer one's a little more rubber, so it has a little more grip to it. So if you don't lube this track, you're going to be fighting this thing. I may be fighting it anyways. We're about to find out. So give me 1 second. I'm going to run grab my spray and I'll spray this down. Okay, I'm back. So again, spray. I also have this car covered with this just so I don't get anything on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this down this track just to get a little bit of lube going in here. I learned the last time doing this is don't be skimpy on it, because it makes this fight a lot less of a fight. This spray's not working that good. I think I'm about to run out of air in this canny. Well, that's awesome. All right, let's hope for the best here, since my can just ran out of juice. Nice, nice. You know, it has a ton left. That's awesome. All right, I think we made it. We'll find out. Okay, so if I would have had more of that, I would have rubbed it all over these, but we're gonna find out. So, also what I'll usually do is I try and run it to the other side, get it started through here. This is the tough part, getting this started, because it's a really weird. I would love for it to prove me wrong and just. So I try and keep this kind of rounded at this back part as I feed it, otherwise it will not feed well at all. So as I feed, I'm going to squeeze that and then pull from this end kind of simultaneously to try and keep it feeding in that track perfectly. If I just left that flat and tried to pull this, it'd just pull right out of the track. So it's a two-hand job. Probably wouldn't hurt to even have more than two hands if I had them, but I don't. So, and then I just want to kind of watch, make sure that I'm not running out of the track, because there's a spot right here that's the spot that concerns me. Once you get about 50% through, sometimes it'll start binding, but we'll see. And do not try and force it and fight it, because otherwise you'll end up pulling this right out of the track, just like pulling a chain off a sprocket. Same thing. If you try and force this too now that you see that, I'm going to go ahead and change the angle just so you can see it from a different angle. So give me 1 second. Okay, different angle, just so you could see these two little tracks that I'm trying to feed this in a little bit better. Plus, you're not just looking at the back of my head this whole time. So, again, back to what I was talking about. Cupping this in, fold it in, and then guiding. Now, the problem is like I said, where it helps to have more than one person is once you get so far in, obviously I can't reach here and there. It's going to become a little harder to do. It doesn't help that my hands are totally covered in that lubrication as well. Matter of fact, I might end up grabbing this is what I talked about. Once you get about 50%, but I also just want to keep watching, make sure I don't lose that out of that track. So far, so good. But this is where more gets into this track, the more it's going to fight you. Right there, I just lost the track. So you can see I came out of the track here. So perfect example. Let me put that over there a little bit more since you can't really. Just gonna show what we're talking about when I say I came out of the track here. So you can see right here, when it was back here, I lost the track. So now I'm gonna have to pull all that out again, just back it up, and start over with that track. We'll have to back this all the way back. Making sure not to ruin anything else I've already done. Surprisingly, that's not the one I thought was gonna mess up. But I can see a little mark here. That's why I know once you want to look to the other side just to make sure that, because you don't want to lose the internal piece of it and not notice. All right, let's see if I can get that to stay this time. Now you see why I have to keep checking back and forth. I thought it was going to be this back track, actually, that it was the one with that screw through it. This one I wish y'all could tell me. So far, had to take a little break there. Shoulders are on fire. All right, let's try and wrap this up. This is the hard part. You get so close, but also what you'll find out, that's why I went down there a little bit ago, is this kind of bunches. So you want to pull one in to kind of stretch it out a little bit. Make sure it's not bunching in there. So I'll get a little bit of that play in that. kind of stretches it and then it'll help pull. And all it is a little back and forth. At this, once you get to this point, unfortunately, get so close. Almost there. A few more inches and we're there. Now the good thing is, because I only have that much left, now that thing's up and shaped, so I might be able to get away with just guiding it this way without losing it. Now, however, the end of this is actually uglier than I thought. It's a little eaten up. So, all I was doing is taking the screwdriver and sticking it in that just to open up, because it was kind of crunched from that little, the guide, the little valley that this goes through. And that's what's fighting me now. Once I get past, I'm almost past it. Just about there. Then I'm going to show something else. That's pretty good. All right. So, it's in. Now, the other thing I was going to say is, on these, I bought this in a roll. Honestly, I can't even remember the size, but it basically came in a roll for 2 doors. So I basically measured it and cut it in the middle. So this one actually has that much extra. You can't have it hanging off, because then when it goes up in the tracks, it's going to hit the track right here as it goes. Now, I leave it a little bit over, just because so when it hits the ground, you'll have that closure. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm just I'll cut this end off just to clean it up. But again, just one of those jobs that I want to show people you can do it. May take a little bit of tugging and pulling, but don't rush it, because that's when you'll pull this out of track. But it's just another thing that most people could do. Again, ordered this on Amazon. It came in a, whatever it was, 16-foot length, and then cut it down to 2 8-foot lengths. And or you buy it to the length, unless you have one long garage. If you're gonna have the one door garage, then you're probably gonna want 2 people to sit there and guide that and help fight that. You're gonna be fighting it. So might be another easier way to do it. This is how I've done it, and this is how I did it. So again, just another example of showing people how to do things and get it done themselves without having to call someone else to do it. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.